What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy, Storyseller Jet, with another episode of the That's So Fire Talk Show. And today I have my friend here, Ian Crawford. On the show, we're going to be dropping some knowledge on how to find control and security in 2026. We're going to be talking a little bit about sales. We're going to talk about marketing. We're going to talk about finding your purpose in life. We're going to be talking about a lot of really cool things. So, please tune in. It's going to be fire, baby. Let's go. Ian, what's going on, man?
Dude, thanks for having me on. This is an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, and guess what, everyone? This is technically second time doing a podcast with me.
This is true.
Second time. The very first one was at Brain Social, which was hosted by my boy Vega. That was a fun night. You were my first interview that night.
Was that really?
Yeah, you were the very first one that I interviewed that night. And I was like, oh, that was cool. Let's keep doing it. Super excited to have you on the show, man. Are you ready to get started?
Pumped. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So the very first question that I typically ask people is, who are they? So who is Ian Crawford? And then we're going to be talking a little bit about your origin story and all of that. So who is Ian Crawford?
Who is Ian Crawford? It's a great question. I think for me, I think as we were talking about earlier, like it's just a lot more centered around, I think, impact as far as like my life right now. It's of course Ian Crawford. He likes to ski. He likes to like play poker. He likes to travel, work out in the gym, whatnot. But really, like who Ian Crawford is just helping people find their purpose, find something passionate to go through and do, and like really find that freedom and control that they want in their own life. That typically it's really, really hard to find anywhere else except for starting your own business, which is why I'm working on the things I'm doing now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yes, so, earlier we were talking a little bit about, your backstory, and I was like, man, this is incredible. And I cannot wait for everybody to hear what you're going to be sharing here in a little bit. So let's start by doing a quick origin story. So how did you are now, like, tell people over here too, like, what are you doing right now? A little bit about your business, about what you're working on.
Sure. I mean, just a little bit about Rep to Owner. This started a little bit like about 6 months ago. Really just started doing the podcast, interviewing business owners that came from sales that left and started their own business. Really just interviewing those journeys, seeing what the commonalities are between all those storylines, just seeing if there's common pitfalls, if there's common things that they did well and excelled in. I mean, we'll go into my backstory here in a minute, but that business, Rep to Owner, really just came about from my own story, but then also all these other entrepreneur stories as well. Really just figuring out, is there a direct path from sales to achieving the control and freedom that sales reps got into sales for the first place for? So Rep to Owner, we help sales reps transfer out of sales because sales isn't forever. It's not the end game. We help them go through and start their own business within 90 days and sign their first paying client.
Wow.
So that's our main offer. We have our community as well, the back room, where the people that are on our podcast come in. They do weekly trainings and Q&As. I do some of those myself as well. And then we have our other accelerator program as well. That'll be built out in like 6 months, which is built to exit. So once you go through and launch that initial business, we'll build that out with people in private equity that actually want to go through and buy those businesses that are being started up and build it from there backwards to help sales reps either build a business where they have complete control and freedom over it. They're not investing all their time into it, or they can go through and sell it and really have that life that they profess that they want.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's the backstory? How did you get started to do what you're doing right now?
So I got started in sales back when I was 18, still in high school. I had started up a little side venture on the side. I had met a few people through there that introduced me to sales. Checked out a bunch of different companies. If you're from Utah or even Tampa, there's a lot of sales reps as well. You have so many companies to choose from, so many different offers. My friend that got me involved in it, We checked out every company, like all these different products and offers in Utah to go through and sell, and really landed on solar to go through and try when I was 18 years old. So when I was still in high school, I'll have to send you some of these pictures later for how I look crazy. I went out, flew out against my parents didn't really want me to go. Friends and family were a little iffy about the solar industry at the time as well. But just decided that regardless whether I made money or not, I was going to be learning from people who had way more experience than me, had sold millions of dollars worth of revenue. I was going to a state I'd never been before, and just like meeting people who wanted more in life and like really surrounding myself with those people. So I flew out to Florida for the first time, Tampa, 18 years old, went door to door selling solar panels.
Wow, that's incredible. Earlier we were talking about something that I thought was very interesting. How did you make $7,000 the day that you graduated using sales?
Yeah, so on that trial period is what we call Blitz. When I flew out to Florida, that very, very last day of that, while I was still in high school, I made 2 sales, made $7,000 that I got paid out on from those solar deals. And that was really just from, those 2 weeks. It taught me a lot. You asked me how did I make that $7,000? It came from really just every single day, like trying to apply myself, like reading the sales books, going to the trainings, doing role plays at night, just really indulging myself as much as I could into the sales culture, and really just going at it as hard as I could every day. And there's 100% like aspects of luck like within that, but just doing the inputs required to get that outcome, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. Very interesting. For me, I don't think I have the stomach, however you pronounce that, to go door to door to do sales. And I guess you have to have like a specific, not mentality, what is it called? You have to have special skills, I would say, to be able to go and do door to door sales.
See, that's the beautiful thing, is that I don't think you have to. I don't think you have to at all. You're going to be faced with tons of rejection. But I think anyone can do it, because I think anyone has a prophetic calling in life that they need to go through and do. And the lessons that you learn from door-to-door sales, if you're able to tie that into your bigger purpose, then it really just goes, like, you 100% could do door-to-door. Anyone could do door-to-door if they really wanted to, and they can learn a lot of lessons from that. I'm not saying that's what you should go through and do, but like there are a lot of things to go through and be learned from that, and anyone can do it if they really tie into that bigger purpose of, okay, why am I actually doing this? Why am I actually doing door-to-door, putting myself through hell of like getting all these no's, all this rejection, getting guns pulled, dogs sicked on them. Like, this is from personal experience. Just anyone can go through and do it if they really, really want to, but it's just, you have to be doing it for a bigger mission and purpose, other than just making a couple $1,000s, because you'll burn out like that.
Yeah. What would you say is the biggest lesson that you've learned from doing door-to-door sales?
It's always 10 times harder than you think it is. Always. And I think with that, it's 10 times harder than you think it is, because it's all dependent on you, and you're the bottleneck. You're the bottleneck. You lack the skill sets. You lack the drive at times. And those are things that constantly need to be developed and require patience, because we always want things now. And it's like, it's just not like that. Outcomes, they take time. It takes consistency. And door-to-door really taught me that like, we are the bottleneck, and it requires those inputs from a day-to-day aspect to really achieve the outcomes that we want. And it's just going to take longer than we initially hoped for.
Yeah. What do you think, getting rejected so many times, receiving all the no's, what did that teach you, and that has transpired to your success today?
Being forced to get people to say yes, like learning how to get people to say yes, is because you can only take, like, you only want to be taking so many no's. And that does provide a lot of pain, like in the beginning, to go through and push through that training and move forward. in the trainings and skill development and whatnot, where you need to learn those techniques and frameworks of how to get people to say yes, obviously ethically, like really going through, getting to know the person, seeing if it's a right fit for them, if the product makes sense. Because of like those skills used in the wrong hands, like you can do a lot of damage.
Yeah. I heard somebody say that when you get all of those no's, now like you can face pretty much anything unrelated to sales in the future, because now you've trained yourself to kind of to go through that pain, and that actually kind of increases your, I guess, like pain intake, or the pain that you can take, as entrepreneurs.
100%.
So I would say maybe that's a side effect of like going through the door-to-door sales.
Definitely just building the muscle,
Yeah.
and I think it helps you transition into whatever you want to do next, because you've built a muscle that's required for success to like take those no's, regardless of how many times you ask. That's required to achieve the outcomes that you want in life.
Yeah. Yeah, but you were still in high school. That's crazy. High school, making $7,000, flying away from home to go to a completely new city. That's ballsy.
Yeah, but I think it was just required. And I think God gives us opportunities and puts those things in our path to go through and act upon. And if you don't go through and act upon them, then those opportunities are just not going to come our way as often. So it's important when those things do come, when you see the potential and the upside on the other end, if you go through and apply yourself, to really just dive into it and go forward with it, regardless of age, regardless of perceived like circumstances. Because it's easy to say, yeah, you're in high school, you're just a kid. But I think regardless of age, and I think you're seeing it more and more like in society today, like you have literally 16, 18-year-old multimillionaires. It's like people are really going through and taking control of their life and getting out of that box and perceived framework, because it's regardless, even though I was young, it's like, luckily I was just raised that way, and to like take that ownership and responsibility to move forward.
Yeah. So now your parents looking at you going and seeing like, obviously the success that you've had from going out on your own and doing sales. Obviously they were against you doing that in the first place. How do they feel now?
Mom, Dad, if you're watching this or ever watching it, I love you. I think they support more now. They definitely did not initially. It was a lot of like trying to get me to go back to college, like finish it out after I dropped out. I was still doing college at the same time while doing sales, but then when I stopped both, that's when they really started trying to get me to go back to college, get kind of more on the traditional path, which is okay. It's all out of love. If someone ever gives you advice in life or things just in general, it's just out of their own experience or the things that they wish they would have done.
Yeah.
Literally always. And I don't believe you can hold people to that advice that they go through and give you, and really just like judge them for it, right? It's because it's all out of love, and it's just take it with a grain of salt. If they're at where you want to be at, great, go through, take that, run with it, go with it. If not, then it's just respectfully accept it, and then move on to like the other mentors that have the life that you want. So yeah, they're still probably not very happy that I didn't go through, finish out college, that I'm on that path, because obviously entrepreneurship comes with a lot of risks and the ups and downs, and I'm working more now than I ever have to go through and like fulfill this mission. And yeah, I think they are more supportive now, but they definitely weren't initially.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that you dropped out of college. Why did you drop out of college?
It's interesting thing. So I was doing sales, obviously, going back and forth between doing sales and college. I also served a religious mission for 8 months at the time, really just trying to figure out who I was, what I wanted in life. I got to a point within my college path that I went to DC to do an internship. I was working in emerging markets. Phenomenal experience. Loved my time there. They gave me more opportunity than I could imagine on just significant projects to work on. I'm still in contact with my mentor from there. We do things here from time to time. But really just that path showed me that there's a rat race for both sales and there's a rat race for 9 to 5. And I couldn't see myself living within each one of those boxes. And it's just funny because both of those sides, both of those boxes or teams, like you always see them pointing like the finger at each other. It's like 9 to 5. It's like, oh no, my life's like more fulfilling. No, I have all this time on the weekends, whatnot. And then the sales groups, it's no, like we have control of our time and we're making way more money and like we have the freedom that we want, and just pointing the fingers at each other in a sense. I mean, some people don't care regardless, but it's just, I saw after my experience in DC that there was that box and framework for both of those paths that I was on and being like involved with, and I didn't want either one of them. And staying in college would have kept me on that path. And so I just knew I needed to drop off and go do my own thing, completely recreate my environment, and really figure out who Ian was, what is Ian good at, and what can I go through and accomplish.
Yeah. So now, I mean, you've been out of that for a while now. Do you have any regrets not going to college? Or not graduating college?
I don't right now. I think I might later down the line. We'll see. I think having that piece of paper makes it easier to have that identity to hire people of talent to like come through and work for you on your team. Regardless, I mean, if you're paying them enough and whatnot, then it really like just doesn't matter. And as long as it's a unique enough vision, whatnot. But I think it does potentially help like within that aspect. So that's the only thing I can see myself like regretting not finishing it. But other than that, I think I'm super grateful for my time in college. Met a lot of good people and friends and mentors through there. And I think it gave me the storyline that I have today. So I wouldn't take back any of it, but I'm also grateful that I didn't go any further within it, because I would not be where I'm at today if I'd stayed in that college path.
Yeah, for sure. So now fast forward, you dropped out from college. You are here now in the Tampa Bay area. What was next for you? What were you working on? I know you started Rep2Owner about 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. What were you working on before you started Rep2Owner?
So, and I'll say this to my audience or just the audience in general. It's when you're going through just making a shift like that, like if you're dropping out of college, if you're making a big shift in life and going through and just you're rolling the dice, it's you really need to figure out why you're going through and doing it, or else you're just going to burn out and want to bang your head into a wall, and it's just going to be super, super frustrating. And initially, I did that because of the freedom and control that I wanted to build in my own life and have. So then I looked at that and I looked at, okay, what am I good at? What am I good at? Where are my skill sets? Okay, I'm good at connecting with people. I'm good at like recruiting from just like my college experience / sales experience. It's like, okay, I'm good at those things. Let's see if we could go through and do like a recruitment agency. How can I go through and make this passive where I have the control and freedom I want? We're going to go through and see if they'll do a revenue share where it's no risk to my clients, where it's I just go through and I recruit these people off of commission only. They're not paying them a dime out of pocket. I go through and plug them into their systems, and then I just get a percentage of it, and everyone wins at the end of the day. They have their sales rep that's happy, boosting like their identity. They're making more money, and then I'm making money as well. But I have the time and freedom that I want.
Yeah.
And so I pieced all those things together. When I dropped out of college, I just moved out here to Florida, Tampa, Florida, full time, and really just started piecing that together to build my own recruitment agency. which is called the Emerging 1%. And I never operated really underneath like that brand name. That will be saved for a later date, because that name has a lot of meaning to me. But I operated through the brands of my clients.
Yeah, that's awesome. So earlier we were talking about, the entrepreneur journey has its ups and downs. Were there any moments in your life that you really hit rock bottom? And what did you learn from that?
Definitely a couple of times. Honestly, probably one of the times I hit rock bottom was after I felt like I had made it in my recruitment agency. Everything was going. It was passive. I was living a life of freedom and control that I wanted. I was like traveling. I was like dating someone at the time. I felt like I had achieved like what I had sought out to do, if that makes sense. But then shortly after going through and like hitting that, I really just hit a rock bottom of just, I didn't know what my purpose was anymore. Because I went through and hit that. I had traveled. I was making the passive money that I wanted, and I didn't know where I wanted to go from there. Because I have a lot of passion for sales. I love it. It's given me arguably like everything that I have like today. But it's something that I just can't be selling. Like that's not what I can be selling people into, because it's just another box that people are just putting upon themselves. And I just couldn't do that. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like that couldn't be my only sole purpose and focus, regardless of the money that can be made from it, and passively at that. So I hit a rock bottom where I was just succumbing to, just all sorts of vices. This is just something I've said I'm gonna be like more public about. But like I was succumbing to all sorts of vices. Like I've never had a sip of alcohol, like smoked, never done drugs, anything. But like I was watching porn, like sitting in the back of like strip clubs alone. Like I was gambling literally every single day for a 3-month period.
Wow. Every
single day. Didn't miss a day. Learned a lot about poker through there and just other games, but just coming to like so many vices that just put me so much in the hole that I was really just like forced down to the bottom to figure out who I was. And I think if I had the lessons I learned from that, and really just at that pivotal moment right before I started coming up and like working on myself, and both like fitness and like spiritually, like mentally, like all of that, is you're worth more, and it's you're worth more than the standards that you hold yourself to, and you can't expect anyone to come through and save you. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ and God, but it's like you can't believe anyone's gonna come through and save you, because at the end of the day, you have to operate like no one cares. Because also at the end of the day, like that is true for the most part. People have their own problems. People have their own things like going on in their life, regardless, even if they love you or not. You have to go through and like operate off of that, or else you will always be dependent on other people, and you will not have the success and purpose in your life if you're not able to go through and find that. Yeah. Because you have to have that self-love. So I wish. I guess the lesson I learned from that is I wish I had held myself to a higher standard, like long before, and like kept growing and pushing that like even sooner, and just like realizing that there's just no one coming to save you, and you're just gonna keep falling down if you just don't take 100% ownership and like accountability within that.
Yeah. Because you went through that dark time, do you have any advice that you would give to anybody watching this that might be going through their rock bottom as well?
That there's a light at the end of the tunnel, for sure. Even though there might not seem like there is, like, I mean, you look last month, there's the most layoffs in America since 2008. I think a lot of people are scared with AI and just like everything. And I think a lot of people are hitting that rock bottom and like really just like trying to figure out who they are. And like my advice to that is just knowing that life is a long-term game. It's just like being patient, and the more that we can go through and detach ourselves like from the results of the day to day and put up more on a longer term horizon from like a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I've personally found more purpose and like happiness within that when I've been able to go through and separate that. I think that's like got me a lot of my dark times. I mean, we were talking about earlier, like I've had the opportunity to interview a lot of entrepreneurs that have been on a similar path like to me, and a common theme within each one of those journeys, and then also like my journey as well for like those dark moments, is that when you really are in those dark moments, it's really important to try to view yourself from like a third person perspective and realize it's not that bad. It's not that bad at all. It's literally just like all in our, it's all in our head.
Yeah.
It's all in our head, and we make up the majority of our problems. And at the end of the day, the majority of people probably watching this podcast, it's like you still have a roof over your head. You still have food to eat. Like you have a car, you have all these different things, and we just make up these problems in our head. And it's at the end of the day, life is not that bad, and it's just broadening our long-term horizon.
Absolutely. And I'm when you mentioned that you have a roof over your head and, you know, food to eat, that reminded me of a book that somebody gave me when I was in college, which is basically saying that people here living in this beautiful country that we have are 99% better than the rest of the world. Like, even if you take, like, you know, Haiti, for example, like where I'm from, there's a lot of people that are living under $2 a day. Like we were very, very blessed to, like, you know, grow up with a roof over our head, like food to eat every day. But not everybody were so, I guess, lucky as we are. But really, sometimes here, like, you know, when I'm going through those hard moments of the entrepreneur journey, like I, you know, literally, like kicking myself, like, and then also reminded me, like one of my mentors always kind of, when I'm going through those moments, always tells me, hey, remember where you've been, remember all the things that God, the journey that God has taken you through to kind of, you know, really get you to where that you are at right now. And think about all the rest of the world that might not have the luxury thing that you have, the roof over your head, clean water to drink, you know, food to eat. Like a lot of us are like way better. And I'm glad that you say that, you know, looking at, you know, that perspective shift, that it's not that bad. You know, you definitely need to shift your mindset and kind of get back to it and, you know, doing all of that, because the longer that you dwell there, the worse it's going to become. And, you know, yeah, really glad that you shared that.
It's how lucky are we?
Yeah.
And it's, and even just to know, it's like you 100% didn't just get lucky. Like you definitely fought to where you got to, but it's definitely remembering those times that we come from, those hard moments, those things that I think when we remember those hard times that we like went through, it grounds us like to that reality of like, it's not that bad.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my favorite, I would say maybe now becomes like one of my favorite verse, which is kind of weird to say because of what the verse says. But I was listening to Myron Golden maybe a month or so ago, and he was kind of talking about something. And then he says the if he could share one thing with everybody that were watching, it would be faith. And the verse says, fear not, only believe. Fear not, only believe. And was powerful to me because like that was around a parent asking Jesus to basically heal their child. And then as you were reading the verse, the parents came back and say, "Hey, don't worry about that anymore, Jesus. My child has died." And the first answer that Jesus gave him was like, "Fear not, only believe." Like, the child is dead. Like, what else? I mean, like, as us, like, it seems very final. Seems very final, but God says, "Fear not, only believe." And because that guy believed, Jesus was able to kind of bring the child back. Mm-hmm. So as we are going through like those really hard time that we can seem to kind of see the end of the tunnel, that kind of reminded me of that verse, like, "Fear not, only believe." Yeah, that's when you were saying that, that kind of brought that back to me and wanted to share that.
No, it's beautiful because it is. It's going through and just operating off that, because that long-term horizon. It's like in that verse, it's talking about the afterlife. It's like afterlife, paradise, heaven, everything that happens after the fact. And it's even within our own lives and journey within this mortal life. Like, we still don't know what happens like 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And I think that verse has a lot of power of it's still operating within like that same mindset. And faith is, fear not and believe.
I think faith is everything, man. 100%. Faith is everything. And the other thing too, like when we are going through those hard time, it might be the exact remedy or medicine that we need to go through to set us up for what God has intended for us in the future.
I don't think it might be. I think it is.
Yeah, totally. Because like in retrospective, like when you're looking back of all the things that you've gone through, all of those might, are a stepping stone to kind of really accomplishing like the big things that you have in store in the future.
100%.
Yeah. So going back to the story that we were talking about, you mentioned that you were gambling every single day. That's a lot. Every single day. You were gambling every single day and you were watching porn. Mm. What are some of the things that you did to be able to break out of that hold?
I think it really came down to finding my purpose and like something I needed to go through and focus on that I cared about, that I really cared about, that brought meaning to my life, what value I'm able to give to society, and start working on problems that I really just like have a deeper meaning for me. And then also, just like I was talking about before, like realizing like, because there's two parts of that. It's that second part is just realizing that no one's coming to save me. It's like watching porn, just like gambling every single day, like doing all of that. Like what benefit does that bring me or society or the people that I can potentially add value to in their life? It literally brings almost none, except for, now I can like relate to probably like more people. Even though I hated that was like a part of my journey. Just having those standards like raised within my own life. That's like, I have to do 75 hard to become like a person that goes through and can have the effect on people that I need to have. Cause like I need to experience like that transformation and become like that type of person that can achieve the things I want to focus on with like Reptowner, everything that I'm working on now. And I think throughout that journey of really just like focusing on myself and like getting myself out of it, like I just really discovered what I wanted to focus on, which was helping sales reps really out of like sales, but really finding something that they're passionate about as well, and like finding a problem that's actually worth solving that they care about, which actually I didn't even notice that until we're just talking about it now. That like it's gone that direction, because like every sales rep eventually wants to go through and start their own business. But if you're just doing it for money, like I've been down that road. A lot of these other like entrepreneurs have been down that road as well. Like you will just fall into these like pitfalls of just lack of purpose and control over your life, and it's just not going to be as fulfilling. where now I'm solving a problem that I really, really do care about, where it is helping sales reps like find that purpose in that next business venture. Yes, I have other things that are focused on like making money, but that's not like what's driving me for the day to day. Like everything drives like that bigger problem that I'm trying to solve.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And I think that's what got me out of it.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about sales. So what was the biggest sales lesson that you learned over your career that has resulted in, I guess, the most, business for you?
That people always lack something in their life. There's always a gap. It's not always the need for money or saving money also, because that's what people just go towards initially. They just think everyone wants money, but people also want like relationships. People want more identity, and then just like some other things as well. It's like really figuring out what is that person, like what needs are being met, like what do they actually want, and like how can I go through and provide value to them, I think has been my most valuable takeaway in sales. So I mean, you'll listen to a lot of sales podcasts and whatnot that like give you like the specific frameworks for like how to go through and like lead a conversation. And then there's like others that just say, hey, like go through and like focus on the person, like developing the relationship, whatnot. But like at the end of the day, like for sales to like really get someone to like make a decision, you have to figure out like what they care about and are lacking within like their wants and needs.
Yeah. What is the most underrated part of being a skills salesperson?
Most underrated?
Yeah.
I really think like your ability to deal with rejection, just by far. It's I think that muscle that we were talking about, like that you build through regardless whatever type of sales you're doing, like you're going to deal with rejection, you're going to build that muscle. I think way more than almost any other profession that you're going to be in, because you're like that's all you're focused on. That's like all like you're focused on, and that's just a lot of power, because it forces you to build grit and resilience and consistency, and so many other key attributes that that attribute to your success.
Yeah. What would you say is the biggest misconception that people have around sales?
Mental what?
Misconception.
Misconception.
What is the biggest misconception that people have around sales?
The biggest misconception, that's easy money. Like you have just all these like influencers and things that are like flashing the SVJs, the like all these like crazy cars. I mean, we live in Tampa, and there's tons of luxury vehicles everywhere. Everyone's like driving it, especially like in the sales space. You can make a lot of money in the sales space, but it's like from an outside perspective, like the misconception is that it's very, very, very quick money, and that it's easy money. Like that couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah.
And even if it is like somewhat true, like in certain like opportunities, you should definitely not be going in it like within that mindset. Because I think just a lot of people think that there is like quick money like within sales that are coming into this space. And I'll answer that question, but just like for another audience and like misconception along like the same lines as well, is because there's also the other side of it. So I guess it's like a dichotomy, is it's people will look at the SVJs and all like the fancy things that's like salespeople do have and like get from sales, and they just think it's a scam, and that they're scamming people, and that they're just doing shady things like within like the space, and that they're manipulating people, and that like literally couldn't be further from the truth. There are some, like in any industry and things that you'll be doing, there are some villains and bad characters out there, but also there's tons of money to be made within sales as well. Once you've gone through that journey, once you've gone through those initial steps, and those people have gone to like where they're at because they've put in their like sacrificed everything in their life. They put a lot on hold, and that they stay consistent and true and develop all those characteristics that we were going through and talking about. So I think it's a double-edged sword for misconception.
Yeah. What do you think makes a really good salesperson?
If I had to break it down to one thing that I like, just this is me specifically, like, because everyone has their own opinions and different strategies that they can go through and do. For me, it's always been how coachable are you? Is like really been like the biggest characteristic I go through and look at through like my interview processes and everything. I mean, you can say grit, consistency, like all like those different aspects, but it's like if you're coachable, all those things are just going to start developing. Because everyone claims that they want the world, but how many people actually take action to get there? When the path is laid out in front of them, it's like, this is what I did. This is what so many other people did.
Yeah.
Tons of people just like, because I mean, it's because there's so much noise in the world on social media and just in life in general. Everyone has some piece of advice like to say, but it's like if someone's coming to me, they're saying, hey, I want to change my life. I want to make 6 figures in a year. I want to learn the skill of sales. I'm going to go through and show them exactly the path to do that. And I'm going to make them memorize a script before our next call. I've literally made people go through and do it within like a day and to see what happens. But I've seen that to be the biggest indicator of success for my guys, by a long shot. Because anyone that's coachable, if you have like legitimate experience, and like a training platform and the process that they can go through and follow, like they will become the type of salespeople. Like there are people that are born with like the innate gift more than others, but it's regardless whether you have that, like you have to have that attribute.
Yeah. We were talking earlier about commission, and I'm actually very interested in learning more about that. What's the process of hiring somebody to become like full commission for you?
Mm-hmm. So my process, this is just within my recruitment agency. I still go through and follow this process now. Is that very first initial call? I mean, obviously they have some sort of context on what the position is, the opportunity, whatnot. But that first initial call, it is all about them. It's all about them, their goals, their vision, their dreams, literally like everything just like about them. Like what do they care about? What are they lacking? Where are they at in their life right now? And what do they want to go through and accomplish like down the line? What are the things that they're struggling with right now? What are the things that are going well? What's their level of acceptability or not within the stage of life that they're at, like at this moment? It's just going through those different things in that interview, where at the end of that, I have a full picture really of like what that gap, like the most important part is that they feel like they understand what their past is, present, future, what they're dealing with, what they're not. But really that I understand like what that gap is, what they actually go through and care about, like what do they want to accomplish versus like where they're at right now. From there, I really don't have to do much selling after that on the position for them doing like commission only. It's cool. Like you want to go through and do this, like what questions do you have like for me for this opportunity, like whatnot. And then I go into it and present it in a way that's solely tied to like what they want and like their dreams and goals.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm always curious, like, how do you get somebody to, I guess, agree to do 100% commission? Because obviously there is like a risk to it. Like if they don't sell, they don't do anything, they're not going to get paid. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you get somebody to be so interested to do like, only commission, 100% commission?
I think it's a couple things. Obviously there has to be some sort of like proven path somewhat, or some perceived likelihood like of achievement there has to be some aspect of that there. That's either they feel like they will get to that point or it's already been done. Like that has to be like checked off the box, like first and foremost. Because when someone's like going through and like doing commission only, like you're guiding, like whoever they're going with and like betting on for that, like you're guiding them like to that, like you're guiding them and almost like challenging them. It's like, hey, these people have gone through and done it. Why can't you? Yeah. And people have a lot of confidence in themselves. I think when you go through and are perceived like confidence, I think more than not, I mean, obviously you have a lot of people who aren't confident, but those aren't the people that are applying for these positions. So like those are just like filtered out automatically. But the people are going through and getting on the phone and interview with me, we're going really just like tying like that outcome that they want, like long term in their life, to like the position, just like the likelihood of achievement, the value that they're going to get from it, not just the money. It's going to be like the relationship capital, the teammates with unique skills that have generated millions of dollars within sales or whatever the agreement is for like revenue share. If it's marketing, something else, like, yeah, that they're just going to be learning from someone. If someone's doing commission only, they need to be learning from someone. They have to have a mentor. So those, and then they have to be raising their identity as well. Like they have to be elevating the identity within like that position. So those like four key points like have to be hit on for every single commission-based sales role. For me, like that has to be presented for each one of those four, because the majority of people trying to go through and hire commission-only sales reps, they'll talk about like their goal in life. They'll talk about all that like stuff. But very, very rarely will they go through and focus on like the relationship, like capital, like heavily the mentorship.
Yeah.
Like very, very rarely do they like I don't even talk about the money now. Like for the most part, I don't talk about that at all, because it's like you're commission only like that. Like I'm like, don't even focus on the money. Like that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like if this works, then great. And it's worked for all these people and they made hundreds of thousands of dollars. But if you're going to do this, don't do it for the money. Do it for like the relationships you're going to build, like the mentors that you're going to have around you, and the identity it's going to build for you. Like these attributes that we're talking about.
Love that.
And the accolades that you're going to go through and accumulate from there. Like I've done like hundreds of thousands, a little over like $1 million, like in personal sales. And it's like, those are things that I can go through and say, and an identity that's been developed like over time that I can now go through and use that like with my story to accomplish like the mission like I have now. But just focusing on those three things way more than the money, because especially in the sales space and just any commission-based role, it's just like you're so like people are so focused in recruiting on like the commission only, the recruits and the recruiter. It's like, okay, like what are the numbers? Like it's important, but like not even close to as important as like the other three. Because if the money's not guaranteed, like you just have to act as like it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like you literally have to.
Yeah.
And like I have people I've worked for literally for free, for like 2-3 months without like getting sales, because it's like a little bit slower learning process, coachable, but like slower level of learning, which I also think Ryan Smith from Utah, he talks about that a lot, is like your rate of learning is like one of the biggest attributes of success. And I'd say that's like the second one I try to look for now, that I learned from my recruiting journey. Because if they're not getting a sale for 2-3 months, then like I need to move them on to a different opportunity where they are making money, because they do need to make money.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was a long spiel. But.
Yeah, no, that was great. You mentioned earlier that you've hired a bunch of people that are 100% commission, but some people ended up paying you to work with you. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's just like we were talking about before. Like you really need to figure out like what people want. What do people want, right? It's they want money, but you also have to figure out like what they lack as well. Because a ton of people out there lack identity. They lack the network, the relationships that are gonna go through and like get them to the next place. and a ton of them lack the like teammates with unique skill sets to really go through and elevate like their mission or purpose like forward and like to learn from those people. Tons of people lack those three. That's why mainly for the most part I really like focus on the money aspect. Like very, very rarely now I try to just never like focus on it. It's an aspect of it, but like those three are the most important. And I learned a lot of this stuff also from Sean Callaghy on Blinded. Phenomenal group. I was part of like their group for a year and a half, and they taught me like about a lot of this stuff. I just have to pay credit where it's due.
Yeah.
So that deal that someone's I'm not going to mention their name, that they're like paying me for like our partnership that we go through and have, was the initial agreement was they're coming into like a brand new city. They don't know anyone. They don't have the relationship capital, like really the identity. It's like no one knows who they are or like their journey and whatnot. And they definitely don't have the team with unique skills, and they don't have the money, like really, like they don't have like any of it. So that just gives me a lot of room to say, okay, how can we go through and do this? Okay, you don't really have a huge identity. I can give you opportunity for like commission only, right? But I'm going to go through and also provide you like the relationship capital and teammates with unique skill sets to go through and like get even more money. So I went through just like negotiated the deal where we were funneling people that we were going through and meeting just within like the Tampa area to them to go through and like start selling them on their products and service. But part of that deal was, hey, if we're going to go through and make that introduction, we're going to get a 10% revenue share of any deal that you go through and do. And that can go through and go down in tiers as you go through and do these services for us. It was like the way that deal ended up getting structured, because it was like cool at the end of the day, like they're making money like with us if they're actually producing the results and like deliverables like needed. They're making money from like the introductions that we're going through and making, and they're learning from multi 7-figure like entrepreneurs, and they're building like a lot more relationships. Like they have the world. Like that sounds like a phenomenal deal.
Yeah.
But it's like at the end of the day, it's just people don't break it down like in that way typically when like negotiating deals like that. It's a lot more like finite and not like as complicated. But that's how, yeah, it really just didn't end up like working out fully as we hoped it would. They just weren't love them, just weren't delivering on the things that like we needed. So that partnership phased out, but like we still get paid for the work and input that we did.
Yeah.
And connecting them like with people.
Yeah.
Even though they were on commission only.
Yeah. Talking about that, how important it is to build the right network and the right community around you. I know that you've done that a lot. You moved from, I think it was Utah to Tampa, or maybe DC to Tampa. And now
Utah to Colorado, back to Utah, Tampa, back and forth, all over Florida, and DC.
Yeah. So how important was it for you to get connected to the community, and what did that help you? I know you've done like, things with TE, you've done Brain Social, that's where we met. How important is community to growing anybody's business?
I think when I look at it, I don't even look at it necessarily from like a business aspect for me now. It's because my first year and a half when I dropped out of college, like I was very much, if it wasn't anything like in relation to recruiting and the events I was doing and just all this other stuff that I was just trying to figure out, like I was not going out really at all, except for like my travels and things I went and did. But I wasn't involved in the community like in Tampa whatsoever. And over the past like 6-7 months, me being more involved in the community, doing the podcast, it's given me so much more of a perspective on really just like who I am as a person and like where I can go through, and also just like add value in like people's lives. And then also it's just like, we're all just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like everyone's just trying to figure it out. And it's lonely trying to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Like I was super lonely for like that year and a half, just like putting the head down. I probably wouldn't have gone to like where I was if I hadn't. But yeah, that aspect of community, like my life's completely changed over these past 6-7 months. Like I'm just talking with and like friends with people that I never would even thought possible. Like some even like literal like billionaires.
Yeah.
Where I've lived in like the ghetto of like Colorado. It's like just a whole like shift and change, and that was just by trying to go through and just be more involved in the community, and just trying to like add as much value as possible, and really just I think solving an issue that was important to me. Like people saw that there's a drive there, that they like want to go through and help, even though I was getting into and still am getting into rooms that I probably have no business being in, purely looking at like my accolades.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's been everything, because it's just completely transformed my perception on reality, what's possible, that a lot of things I thought were like set in stone beforehand on like my version of reality is just bullshit. And it's like, it's a crazy game.
Yeah.
So I think it's everything. It really helps you see yourself from a third perspective.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question that is kind of the opposite of that a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is not really the opposite, but it's all about, the experiences that you're building. So you've really set a strong foundation here in Tampa, but you've just bought a one-way ticket to, was it Saudi Arabia or
Austria? But Austria, then Dubai.
Yeah, Austria and then Dubai,
Yep.
just so you can kind of go to experience culture. Why did you decide to buy a one-way ticket to Austria, then Dubai? And why are you doing that?
The one-way ticket, I mean, there's two answers. I have a points guy that it's just cheaper if you do it that way. Like for your whole trip, I can get into that like way more later. That's just like my flight to Austria was $180.
$180.
$180. Crazy.
What?
No, crazy.
That is
No,
insane.
really, really good, dude.
We're going to Austria tomorrow. $180.
No, literally, you guys could.
Yeah.
Like, I literally could send you guys a flight. It's insane though. So there's like that answer, but also the other answer of that, because that's usually just how I've done trips in the past, is just leaving room for God and just other like forces to go through and like work. Just like being open to like moving like where I need to. Cause like I'm going to go out there, I'm going to do a podcast with my friend. Like I haven't seen in a couple of years, in Austria, happened to be at the same time, that a bunch of these guys in, Tampa are doing a mastermind out there that like they invited me to. Simon, if you ever watch this, yeah, appreciate you invited me to that, for a bunch of like high level entrepreneurs at the same ski resort that I'm going to be at. So random. There's 180 ski resorts in Austria, and they just happen to be at the same one I was already going to be at.
Yeah, that's insane.
Super weird. So just like little things like that. Like there's just like why I booked the one ways is because I never know like what's going to happen. It's like I'm just going to go stay there, like figure it out as I go. I have like a general plan. Like I'll be in Dubai, whatnot, in March to go through and check out some things there and build connections and just like have some things out there for rep to owner. But yeah, just trying to be free spirited and like flexible as possible. Cause I think if I'm just focused on my mission, like things will come and I can pivot and adjust.
Yeah. So you just mentioned that you were going to interview some friends in Austria and then maybe even Dubai. Mm-hmm. I know you guys interviewed some people from Dubai in the past, but question about your podcast. Why did you decide to start your podcast?
It was all around the idea that I needed to really go through and see if there's common themes within the paths of these rep to owners is what we call them. Is that business owners that came from sales that transitioned to starting their own business, seeing what the commonalities like were between that, how that relates like to my story, what were the common pitfalls, what were the mistakes that they made, that I can go to my community of sales reps and show this, like, these are things that you don't have to make this mistake. you can avoid all of this, because these are common things that every single rep to owner went through that we have solutions for. And that if you go do it on your own, you're going to lose millions of dollars, because almost every single rep to owner out of the 16 people we've gone through and done the podcast with has just lost tons of money going through and trying to make the shift, like tons of time, tons of energy, because they didn't do like these simple little things, really just leading up to it. Them leaving sales and trying to start their own business. A lot of them ended up like going back or trying marketing, and then they went and found a problem that they actually wanted to go through and solve and like really get into, and then they started blowing up. So we really figured, like, the podcast was all started to really figure out that path. And I think over time, we were talking about this as well, just like selfishly, like I learned a lot as well, like through these people, and I'm able to like develop friendships with people a lot more, because I'm able to hear their story that people don't get to talk about a lot. As I'm sure like you've seen, it's no one asks like those deep of questions for like that amount of time. It's even like this podcast that I'm on. It's like no one asks like me these questions. So it's good, because it's building like the connection like between people, you know.
Absolutely. What would you say has been the biggest lesson that you've learned from your guest, from your podcast?
We've talked about a few. And just like thinking about it more and more throughout this like conversation, if I had to narrow it down to one, just one single lesson from all the guests, like my own like personal journey, for just a common theme between all of these, is it's really just bet on yourself. Bet on yourself, and don't be scared to like make the jump. Don't be fearful. Have faith and believe that you will come out on the other side, because you have so much potential to do whatever you want. That whatever problems come your way, you're going to solve them. Even though you might not see the end of the tunnel, the path's still there and you can still walk, and that you're going to figure it out. But I think that's been probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned, because and I think that's helped me over these past few months excel in like certain areas that are super scary to just like make like risks, take risks on things, but just realizing at the end of the day, like, you're going to figure it out. We're playing a long-term game. It's like the results of today are not going to be the results of like a year from now.
Yeah. What doors do you believe that the podcast has opened for you?
I think it's given me more identity. I think I'll become more of a like subject matter expert within the area as like time goes on more and more. That sales reps, like anyone that wants to go through and like transition from sales, like I've analyzed like hours and hours and hours of content from all those podcasts, all those journeys, over 125,000 words put through my ChatGPTs, Alex Hormozi's AI, Manus, to go through and figure out what is the path and things that sales reps need when transitioning from a business to get their first client, and to have that life and control and freedom that they want. Yeah. Like, I think that has given me, I think that will make me a subject matter expert. I think that's like opened up a lot of doors for like humbly and like gratefully, where I'm going to be able to have the impact that I want within this business, and actually be able to like help people in a proven way. I think it's also opened up doors where I'm just having long conversations with people I wouldn't have the opportunity to otherwise, 100%. And I think it's just gotten me into social circles all across the country and world that I never ever would have like before. And it's I think Alex Hormozi talks about this, but it's you're not the five people you surround yourself with the most. You're the five people you compare yourself to the most.
Interesting.
And the podcast, I think, has opened up a lot of doors to me, because I having those people on like a weekly basis come through and be in my network, the ecosystem, helping sales reps, hopping on the training calls, doing all these different things, is I'm able to go through and compare. Like, those are the people I'm comparing myself to. Like, those are the people are like on that have done the journey I'm like on like right now as well, like within all my different ventures. So it's I think that's opened up a lot of doors in general that I can't quantify or like say that these are like the specific ones. But definitely like a lot of doors within my mind of just like what's possible in my own life, and just like the impact I can have in other people's as well. And then also, yeah, I think it's opened up doors for those people hopping on the podcast. Is just like they know that that's an ecosystem being built, and that they are gonna have access to like those types of people as well that have also been on the journey that they've been on. Yeah. And that's a powerful thing that I'm grateful like God is working on and like developing like with me.
Love it. This is gonna be a loaded question. Which studio has been the best one that you've recorded in?
For sure this one. You see this? This is crazy. And it's yeah, definitely just the level of professionalism here has been phenomenal.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. So we're nearing the end of the talk show today. I have 3 to 5 questions to ask you. We'll see how many we get. Like we over time for a little bit right now, but the very first question that I have for you, if you had to go back to day one, maybe the day that you told your parents that you were moving to Tampa, to you still in high school, that you were going to be starting a sales career, what would you have told your younger self? If you had to go back to day one, what would you have told to your younger self? What advice would you have given to your younger self going back to day one?
Just act and fail quickly. And don't be fearful. Because I think a lot of us just move with caution. And I think even for those decisions that I went through and made, it was just like very slow in my mind. It might have not been slow for my parents or other people, but I know just like success loves speed. And if I think I wasn't as fearful, I would have even moved quicker, and I would have failed quicker. I would have learned quicker, and I would have been even further ahead, more than I am today. Yeah. So that's definitely something I would grab my younger self and tell him.
Yeah. What is one thing you would have done differently if you went back to that time? What would you have told yourself to do differently?
I think investing in mentorship earlier. Like I've invested in like Alex Hormozi's like Black Books, which obviously it's not like direct mentor within that, but like I've invested in Dan Martell's community. I've had the pleasure of like him going through like mentoring me through that. Like we're working with Anthony Bertonson right now, also as a mentor, and just like I'm learning all these different things that I know I could have learned more earlier on if I had just invested earlier and just invested into myself instead of just this is stupid things, just like blowing money like left and right, and not just setting aside some of that cash like to really go through and invest into those like mentors that could get me into where I want to go.
Yeah. What would you tell people that are super afraid of investing in mentors?
What are you afraid of? Like you can always go through and learn something. And if you're not, like that's not a mentor problem, that's a you problem.
Boom.
Everyone has something of value to give. If you're not getting what you want out of any mentorship program or course or anything like that, I mean, there's a reason that you bought it in the first place. And if you've bought it or even thinking about buying it, and like that's something in your mind, like that's there for a reason, and there's a reason like you came across it, and there's always something to learn from, and you're in action is doing you more harm than just not even doing it in the first place, regardless of the money that you could potentially lose, because you'll learn from it either way. Even if it's a terrible experience, you'll know what to look for the next time when looking at different mentorship or courses and things to go through and buy. And you can learn from that and actually make a educated decision that next time and still learn. Like, it's all just a part of the journey. Like, you just not going through investing into yourself, like, is just tying you down to the reality that you're living right now. Yeah. And you'll never break free from that until you really start investing into those skills.
Awesome. What is one book, one resource, or one person that has made the biggest impact on you?
10X is easier than 2X is by far probably the most impactful book for me. The like principles within that. So many people are just focused on all these million different things, and they think they can have it all. They think they can have everything, and they can just shoot to the moon. 10X easier than 2X really taught me that you need to go through and niche down on one problem, one thing that you're going through and solving. And if you can really go through and effectively do that, you're gonna just blow up, and your life will change dramatically. Where if you're focusing on all these different things at once, and not focusing in on the 20% that's driving all the results in your life, then you're just gonna grow at a linear rate instead of an exponential. Yeah, and that completely changed my life, focusing on that 20%.
Yeah, and for those of you watching this, the author of that book is Benjamin Hardy, and he's written a bunch of really, really, really good books. I want to pick up Science of Scaling soon. I've not read that one, but two other books that have been extremely...
I'm pretty sure it's Dan Sullivan.
Is partnered with Benjamin Hardy. Yeah, Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy. Benjamin Hardy is the one that wrote it, and then Dan Sullivan is kind of the mastermind behind it. Yeah. So they did that together, and then now he has created The Science of Scaling, and then the other one is Who Not How. Is a fantastic book. I think 2X is easier than 10X is easier than 2X. When I read that book, I couldn't put it down. Funny enough, he lives in Orlando, which is awesome. I've had the opportunity to see him speak live.
That's awesome
as well. Very smart, very good. But Who Not How, Science of Scaling, 10X is easier than 2X. Fantastic book. I would highly recommend them.
Think and Grow Rich is probably another huge one on my list. Huge one.
Yeah.
I mean, that took Napoleon Hill over 20 years to write that singular book.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard that there were some interesting stories behind that I've learned from that, but you'll have to find out on yourself by yourself. Well, Ian, man, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you for coming and sharing your journey, sharing some of the things that you were working on. What does the future look like for you? What are you most excited about? What's the legacy that you want to leave with Rep2Owner?
I'm just excited for the sales reps we're helping right now. We just had one of our first clients, Lono, go through and join Prep to Launch. We have a few other clients as well. We're exploring to make sure it's a good fit for them. Just really helping sales reps actually start up these businesses that they care about and that can provide that control and freedom that they want in their own life, and really just building an empire and movement where we can change literally millions of lives, because there's millions of sales reps all across the world.
Yeah.
That's what that path is. It's not just in the US. This is something all across the world. And we've been blessed to be here, we were talking about earlier, to have what we have in our life, and not trying to share that with everyone in the world, and give people a path to follow. Yeah, I think would just be crazy. So that's just what's really in store for the next 5-10 years, is this is it. This is really what I'm going all in on, and really focusing on, and pushing forward and seeing how many lives that we can go through and change, and the empire that we'll build.
I love it. For anybody watching this that might be interested in learning more about you and Reps2Owner, how can they find you?
Yeah, so you can reach out to me on Instagram, Ian_Coford, or you can reach out to Rep2Owner as well, just at Rep2Owner. Yeah, just reach out to me with any questions, anything that you need in regards to starting up a business, transferring from sales, recruiting, just anything that we talked about today. Always happy to talk about it and like lend a hand. So
Fantastic.
I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, man. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you learned a thing or two. Again, my goal for this podcast, is one person is impacted by the conversation today, I call that a major success. And obviously, we talked about a lot of really good things. Obviously, Ian sharing his journey from hitting rock bottom, how he got out of that, and the purpose that that he was able to find, and now talking about sales, marketing, negotiation, and all of this fun stuff. So I'm sure that we're going to be impacting a lot of people from this show today. So thank you guys for tuning. Thank you guys for tuning in, and don't forget to follow Ian on social media at Rep2Owner or Ian_Coford on Instagram. There you have it. Let's go, baby. That's so fire.
God bless.